Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories.
A quick warning before we begin. In today's main story, OP mentions to us the abuse that she went through. So if that is an uncomfortable subject for you, you can use the timestamps to skip the first story. Now let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user LoudRaspberry2222. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's side of the family why I went no contact with him? I, 23 female, have been no contact with my dad since I was 18, along with my two brothers, 22 male and 26 male. My mom died when I was 6, and until I was 8, it was just my dad, me, and my two brothers. Then, when I was 8, my dad married my stepmom. Let's call her B. B had 2 kids of her own, a girl a year older than me, and a boy 3 years older than me. My dad quickly moved us all in together, and they decided that the sleeping arrangement would be that B's 2 kids would have their own room each, and me and my 2 brothers had to share. This kinda set up the entire precedent for our new lives. From little things like B telling me and my brothers off if we didn't let her 2 kids choose what was on TV, to bigger things, to kids anyway, like the presents we got at Christmas and birthdays. On Christmas, B's kids always had huge piles of gifts, the newest gaming stations and TVs, etc. And my brothers and I would each get little piles of tat, basically. The 3 of our combined presents every year equaled one of their present piles, if that. I remember about a year into living together, B insisted that her kids call my dad, Dad, but my brothers and I were never allowed to call her Mom. Not that we even wanted to, but she made it a point to tell us that she was just B to us. My dad went along with her obvious favoritism and even began acting like it himself not long after living together. B's daughter and I went to the same school and were in the same netball team, and one time when I was 14, we had a netball tournament trip to Paris, and we'd also spent 2 days at Disneyland. I was so excited for this. But then reality sank in when my dad and B sat us down and told us that they only had money for one of us to go. And of course they chose B's daughter. They said it was because she was older and would be leaving school next year, but this was a one-time trip that wouldn't be repeated, and both of us were players on the A team. Also, my dad worked a good job and B had money of her own from her first marriage, so they could have afforded to let both of us go. They just didn't want to. Now, B had been physically punishing my older brother since about a year into us all living together, and when I was about 10, she started doing the same to me. Then, my dad decided to start doing the same to us because we were naughty kids who needed to learn respect. I remember one time he slapped me so hard that I had a bruised handprint on my thigh for about a week. I remember it so vividly because in the changing room for PE or netball practice, I was always terrified that someone would see it. B's children were never punished at all, not verbally, not physically, not even a "that's wrong, don't do that," despite them being downright horrible children who tormented my brothers and I. B used to punish me and my brothers anytime we did anything that she deemed unacceptable, even if her children were doing the same thing alongside us. Her favorite method of punishment was cold showers, where she'd stand there and watch us while we were naked and under the cold water to make sure we didn't avoid standing under it or switch it to warm water. That went on until I was 16, and my dad knew about it and even encouraged it. If he ever caught us doing anything he didn't like, after either screaming at us or slapping us, he'd call her and tell her it was cold shower time. Also, when B's son and daughter turned 17, my dad paid for driving lessons and eventually bought a car for both of them. When my brothers and I were 17, he outright refused to. When B's son, who's the same age as my eldest brother, went to uni, B and my dad paid for a 1-bed flat for him so he wouldn't have to stay in student housing. My brother, of course, had to take out a student loan and work a part-time job to even attend uni, and obviously, he had to stay in student housing with roommates. When my brother was 21 and finishing uni, he was renting his own flat and was lucky enough to go straight into a full-time job, so he offered me and my brother, 18 and 17 at the time, to move in with him. We had all been sharing one bedroom practically our entire childhood and teenage lives anyway, so him only having a one bed didn't matter to us. We were just ecstatic to get away from our dad, B and B's children. All three of us cut contact with our dad, B and B's kids that day. Cut to last weekend. Our grandparents on our dad's side have known for years that none of us speak to our dad, but they don't know why. They invited us to one of our cousins' birthday parties at their house, and after assuring us that our dad and B wouldn't be there, we decided to go. Well, as you can probably guess, they were there. I don't know if this was my grandparents' way of trying to bring us back together because they didn't know about my dad and B's abuse, but either way, we were all pissed off and decided to leave. B decided to pass snarky comments about ungrateful children ruining a birthday and ruining family, while my dad stood awkwardly staring at us. That's when I snapped. I very loudly told B, mainly the rest of my family if I'm being honest, that her and my dad were the ones ruining family, that our entire life her and my dad had abused and neglected my brothers and I, all while giving her children everything. Buying them cars, paying for uni and flats for them while making us have to work and provide for everything ourselves, physically abusing us as kids even when B's kids did something wrong and them never getting any punishments. B kicking off any time we spoke about our mom. Forgot to mention this part, but she hated us speaking about our mother. Like, she'd go insane and say we were disrespecting her for speaking about her or looking at her photos or asking our dad about her. After that, we left, so I don't quite know what went on, but I got a message from my grandparents and my auntie and uncle all saying that if it was true, that they had no idea and were hoping that us being together again would rekindle our relationship with our dad, but that I shouldn't have said all that in front of the entire family and that I should have handled it privately with my dad and B. I don't think I was in the wrong for saying what I did in front of who I did, and neither do my brothers, but other family members clearly think I am. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for telling my dad's side of the family why I went no contact with him? No, OP, of course you're not the a-hole. F the lot of them. What do they mean if it was true? Get bent. We know for a fact that B is a see you next Tuesday, but your dad is a weak man. What a disappointment. He failed you three. I am so sorry, OP, that you and your brothers did not have the father that you deserved. You did the right thing by getting away from him and cutting contact, and I would put your extended family in that blocked list as well. What the F again do they mean if it was true? That's it, OP. You're not the a-hole. Just cut all these people out of your life. You don't need them. You've got your siblings and you've got a future. And exposing your dad, you got that off your chest, so good for you. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's check out the community comments. Gigglefester says, not the a-hole. Your grandparents, aunt and uncle shouldn't have tricked you into seeing your dad and his wife, and they were way out of line, implying that what you said might not be true and telling you shouldn't have brought it up. They were wrong. You were right. And Dopey responds, I think that's what I'm the most angry about. It's not exactly common for 3 kids to completely cut off their father the second they turn 18, 17 for my younger brother, even if they didn't know why. None of them asked us, and to trick us all into seeing him after 5 years and then act as if I'm the one in the wrong for airing out dirty laundry is infuriating. Sooner70 says, not the a-hole. You should have also followed it up with some words to the grandparents to the effect of, and this is your first, last, and only warning. If you ever put us in the same room as these pieces of crap again, you will be cut off as well. Viniles says, not the a-hole at all. Your dad and B built their whole lives on pretending everything was fine while treating you and your brothers like extras in their perfect little family movie. They wanted the image without the accountability. You didn't cause drama, you just stopped covering for them. If they didn't want their behavior exposed, maybe they shouldn't have acted like villains in a Disney reboot. Setting the record straight in front of everyone was overdue. And Select Negotiation 87 says, not the a-hole. They are disgraceful and disgusting. Your extended family also sounds crappy. Maybe it's time to go no contact with more of them. Do you have an access to your maternal family? Sending hugs to you and your brothers. I hope your lives will get only better and you can leave this nightmare behind. And Opie responds, when my dad married B, we moved from Wales to England, so had no contact with my mom's family. My dad didn't even tell them that we were moving countries or where we were living. But thankfully, when I was 20, I found my mom's sister online, and now we're back in contact with them and see them a few times a year. They are all so lovely and were so remorseful for not being aware of what had gone through and for not searching harder to find out where we were. No blame or hard feelings against them, obviously. Another huge bonus about finding them again was that we were able to learn more about what our mom was like. Community agrees OP is not the a-hole, of course, and that they should go no contact with the rest of the family. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Firstly, thank you to everyone who left kind comments on my original post, and also to the people who shared their own abuse story. I know even typing it out is tough, and I hope every single one of you are doing well now. So, I am so mad. I created a group chat with my dad's side of the family and sent them this post, along with a copy and paste of what I said in case they didn't click on the link. I also sent another message detailing some other abuse we all suffered that I didn't want to include in the post. My brothers also did this, and the overall response was that they were pissed off at their replies more than the actual content of my post. My auntie's first response to seeing the post was, "Why are you posting family drama online for strangers to butt in and call us a-holes when none of them know us?" Not, "Oh my god, you were abused?" Just, "How dare these people on the internet think I'm a crappy person?" She also went off on me a bit because she saw some of my replies, one of them about how I now suspected they all knew all along and had the effing audacity to say, "You were always clothed, fed, and had a roof over your head." As if that makes all the abuse and neglect okay? And even those stupid points had conditions for the three of us. So, hi Joe, I hope you're also reading this update. F you! Smiley face. My grand said she didn't think it was as bad as that, basically admitting that she knew it was at least somewhat bad and did F all about it. She also suggested that we all sit down with my dad and talk, that your dad's a well-meaning man. No. This makes me even more angry that she tricked us into seeing our literal abusers again, considering she at least knew some of it. Overall, the close family, grandparents, aunties, and uncles outed themselves as crappy humans who knew the entire time that at least some form of abuse and neglect was going on, but were more angry at me for outing it, especially to strangers online. That's really pissed them off, and still believe I ruined my cousin's birthday party for airing out my dirty laundry. The three of us have blocked them all and no longer want anything to do with them. Thankfully though, our older cousins and one auntie are on our side. My auntie said she's disgusted at my dad along with her other siblings, auntie and uncle, after finding out that they knew or at least suspected something was wrong with our childhoods, and their responses to me sending the post, and has since apologized to my brothers and I for the way we grew up. I really hope she's sincere and actually had no idea, so for now we haven't gone no contact with her, but we're also somewhat cautious because I'm still struggling to understand how she couldn't have known at all about anything if it was apparently a known secret within the family. I think we're going to keep this relationship as strictly an over-the-phone relationship, at least for now anyway. Wow, just when it's really hard to be even scummier, these a-holes were able to prove us wrong because they just make it look so easy. What a bunch of crap bags. OP, you and your siblings have done the right thing. Just leave them in the rearview mirror. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user TCACDactyl46. Am I the a-hole for eating my entire baked potato? I, 26 male, am writing this after what I thought would be a nice dinner that spiraled into a huge argument. For context, a few days ago, my fiance's 27 female parents invited us over for dinner. The planned meal was a steak with a baked potato and green beans. I had been with my fiancé for 6 years, engaged for the last 2, and the first time she ever saw me eat a baked potato, skin and all, she was a little confused but laughed it off and just said, "Just don't ever do that around my mom, haha." I never thought much of that until today, that is. Dinner started off well, general chit-chat about work and some discussion about football. I'm an Eagles fan and her mom likes the Broncos, so there's always some playful banter there. The food comes out, they say a little prayer and we start eating. Everything is fine until I start digging into the potato. Her father tilted his head a little and looked at her but didn't say anything. The issue arose once her mother noticed and looked at me like I was the most disgusting and foul thing she'd ever seen. I didn't notice at first until she audibly made a gagging sound. Her mother then got up and ran straight to the bathroom. Both my fiancé and her father went to check on her, and I was left sitting there confused as hell. A few moments later, her dad came back and politely asked me to leave. I asked if something was wrong, and he calmly explained that, as I've been told before, that his wife has some dietary issues, and part of that includes potato skins, and that seeing me eat my entire potato made her nauseous. I apologized and left. About 10 minutes later, as I arrived to my apartment, I get a call from my fiancé. I answer and she immediately starts yelling at me, calling me an ass. I'm taken by surprise as I didn't expect her to be so upset about this. I try apologizing and she cuts me off saying I'm inconsiderate and rude. I start to get upset, but before I can say anything, she says, "Whatever, we'll talk in the morning." I tried calling her back and she sent me straight to voicemail. I've sent her multiple texts, but she has not read them. I really am confused as to if I'm really the a-hole. No, OP, you're not the a-hole. The mom has a thing for potato skins, but she decided to serve baked potato for dinner that she invited you. You, of course, as a normal human being, ate your potato, skin and all, which makes me think, what does she think about potato skins or potato wedges? Which, in my potato eating opinion, is a good way to eat potatoes. Regardless, she's got this gag thing, she didn't like it, and they've asked you to leave like you did something rude? No, OP, you had done nothing rude. They're just weirdos. And honestly, the fact that your girlfriend is berating you and now giving you the silent treatment because of this would make me say, I'm out of here. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. No Function 223 says, not the a-hole. If her mother is this sensitive to other people eating something she doesn't like, she shouldn't serve it, or at the very least say something before vomiting. Beyond dramatic in my opinion. But seriously, if the skin makes her react like that, I honestly cannot understand why she wouldn't just served mashed potatoes instead. Legit drama queen right there that set herself up. One Rainbow Unicorn says, not the a-hole. What the actual F? If someone eating a potato skin causes her to vomit, perhaps she should not serve potato skins, for F's sake. A potato skin is the most nutritious part of the potato. The way your fiancé is behaving is out of line. How dare you eat the food my mom served you? Get the F out. Don't marry into this family. And Interesting Wing 461 says, I love that part of a baked potato. Why did she bother serving it? She could have made mashed potatoes. The community agrees OP is not the a-hole, and some are raising red flags as to not marry into this. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Okay, I know that maybe you all weren't expecting an update, but here we are. To start off, to the handful of people saying this is fake, I don't know, man. I wish it was fake, but I can't really do much to change your minds. Second, saw a few people ask about the steak. It was amazing. Anyways, I did read a lot of comments last night before bed, and I did start contemplating calling off the engagement because everyone made good points about their behavior and handling of the situation. I decided to sleep on my thoughts, and this morning I woke up to a couple of texts from my fiancée, her father and her mother. Her mother actually apologized and asked me to call, so I did. When she answered, she sounded like death and proceeded to apologize again and explain that all day yesterday she'd felt a little off but kept a brave face as she didn't want anyone to worry. Turns out she has the flu. She kept apologizing profusely and said she was indeed a little grossed out by seeing me eat the potato skin because she'd never seen anyone else do that, but she wasn't gonna yuck your yum had it not been for the sickness. Apparently, after running off, she did indeed vomit, but she also felt extremely weak and got the chills. It was so bad she went straight to bed. She also told me that she talked to my fiancé this morning and that there was a reason she lashed out at me so badly. Turns out, I'm gonna be a father. Her mother explained that my fiancé brought her a light breakfast and they sat talking about what happened at dinner. During the conversation, my fiancé apparently knocked over a teacup and became overly distressed and started to tear up. This prompted her mother to question if she could be pregnant. After a quick stop at the pharmacy and 4 pregnancy tests later, she was right, which honestly does explain her moods being different this past week. I don't want to be a stereotypical man, but I kind of assumed it was her period. My fiancé's text was an apology and a picture of the 4 positive pregnancy tests. I did call her as well and we discussed how she lashed out at me. She apologized multiple times and even started crying about how she doesn't want to ruin 6 years. Her father apologized for asking me to leave and said he only did so because my fiancé seemed so upset and he thought it best to give us room before anything harmful could be said. I'm still processing all of this roller coaster, but yeah, her mother doesn't see me as a disgusting creature, everyone apologized, and things seem fine now. Although now I'm worried I might get sick since her mother let me try a sip from her wine glass last night. Haha, sorry if this isn't the end you were hoping for, but I'm glad things weren't as bad as I thought. Well, OP, at least things are out in the clear, and I'm pretty positive that you're gonna get the flu. So hopefully the next 2 weeks aren't so tough on you. Take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user HelpfulHour1984. Start putting your groceries on the belt behind mine while I still have half a cart to unload? I hope you're not in a rush. Elderly person at the supermarket pretended not to see that I was still unloading my cart and just started putting her stuff on the belt. I tell her, "Excuse me, I'm not done." She mutters something but doesn't remove her stuff, just pulls it back while the belt is moving. So I proceed to put the rest of my items one by one, slowly spreading them on the belt. The belt keeps moving and she has to keep pulling her items back. I make small talk with the cashier, I pay in cash, usually use card because it's faster, but I guess not today. I take my time bagging my groceries. Can't have anything crushed in the bag now, can I? I make eye contact with the impatient elder as I leave and give her a little smile. She's fuming. I swear, some elderly people only have 2 speeds when shopping. Snail pace when they're blocking other people for no reason and lightning fast when they're ready to be served and they don't happen to be the first in line. Toddlers are more self-aware. Well, she put herself in that position. She's got no one to blame, OP, and you definitely made her pay for it. Thanks so much for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.